Good evening, everyone. Is my voice is audible? Guys, please let your friends also know that session is started, okay? So we're going to start within few minutes, okay? Please inform to your friends, okay? Guys, please let your friends also know that session has started, okay? Everyone, shall we start the session? Is my voice is audible? Yeah, sure. We'll start the session within few minutes. Okay. Is my voice is clear? Please let me know in the Q&A. All right. So now let's start the session. Okay. So now let's clearly understand what this session is really about, because this will guide you everything. So for upcoming. Okay. So many people think learning AI means building small demos or simple chatbots that answer questions, right? But in real companies, AI systems do much more than that. So not only answering for the question, will do much more than that. Okay. So today we will focus on designing complete agentic AI applications that work end to end. Okay. So when I say end to end, I mean systems that start with user inputs and end with real actions and results. Okay. So think about ordering food through an app. We place the order, the payment happens, then that restaurant is notifies it, and then delivers it, and it tracks, right? So all of this works together smoothly. So an agentic AI system, sorry, so an agentic AI system works in a very similar way. It receives input, understands what needs to be done, and plans the steps and interacts with backend systems to complete the task. So in this session, we will going to learn how these systems are designed, how agents think and plan internally, and how they connect with backend services. So by the end of the session, we will see how intelligent systems are actually built and used in real world application. Okay, got it? So we will learn about building complete agentic AI systems, not a small demos like how the chat GPT work, like giving a question and answering for that. So it explains how AI works end to end and from user input to real world actions in real companies. Okay. So let's go dive into the depth of this session. Okay. So this is our agenda. Okay. So before we move further, so let me explain what we should actually take away from the session. Okay. So you know that what to pay attention to. Okay. So I don't want to just hear new terms and forget them later. I want to understand how real agentic AI systems are built and why they work and the way they do. Okay. So this session is meant to help you think like a someone who design AI, not just someone who is using it. Okay. So we will talk about how a complete agentic AI application is designed, starting from a moment a user interacts with it. So we will see how the agentic understands the request, so and reasons about it and plans what to do, so and finally takes action. So I will also explain how these agents connect to backend systems like databases and APIs, because without that connections, AI is not very useful in real life. So think of this like learning how an entire machine works, so not just one button. So once you understand this flow, many AI systems you see around you will start thinking sense. It makes sense to Okay, so we will understand how agentic AI systems are designed, how agents think and plan, and how AI connects with backend systems to do useful work. Okay, guys, is my voice is clear? Please let me know in the Q&A. Can you hear me clear? Guys, is my voice is clear? Please let me know in the Q&A. Guys, I hope my voice is clear to everyone, right? Samadullah, can you check with your internet, please? Okay, let's move with the next slide. So, from agents to applications, so we can build agents to application. We will discuss. Okay. So now let me ask you a simple question. So when you hear the phrase end-to-end agentic AI applications, what comes to your mind? Please let me know in the Q&A. So when the term end-to-end agentic AI application means comes to you, so what it means to you? So many students immediately think of a chatbot, right? So that's answer answer for question, right? From your side, you, it is. So, but that's only a small part of the picture here. Okay, so an end-to-end agentic AI application is a complete system that can sense what is happening, think about it, take actions, and keep working towards the goal. So without stopping after one step. So imagine an AI system managing support tickets in a company. So it receives a complaint, understands the issue, decides what needs to be done. So triggers backend systems and then checks if the problem is solved or not. So it doesn't wait for humans after every step. So that's continuous flow is what makes it end to end. Okay. So this system starts with input like a user message or an alert and end with the real results. Okay, like resolving an issue or updating a record. So everything in between is carefully designed so the system can operate smoothly and reliably in real world situation. So an end-to-end agentic AI system continuously senses, thinks, acts, and works towards a goal without stopping after one step. Okay. So let's talk about what is an agentic AI API. So if you are aware of API, please let me know in the Q&A. Do you know about API? Guys, do you have any idea about API? Please let me know in the Q&A.
I see only few responses, students. Can you please respond to the question? Only one answer I got. API is an interface between the system and server through which the backend communicate and process the request. Only one response. May I get responses? Students, are you there? Is my voice audible? Please let me know so that we can continue the session. Yeah, I see only one response from Divyansh. Can I get responses? What is an API refers to? An API, application programming interface, is a set of rules and protocols that act as a middleman, allowing two different software programs to communicate and share data. Good, Aritra. Good, Divyansh. Remaining, what happened? Can I get responses? Yeah, Ajay, continue. Okay, let's talk about what an agentic AI API key actually means, right? So why it is important in modern generative AI systems? Do you have any idea why it is important in modern generative AI systems? Let's make this session as an interactive session so that it would be more interesting, right? No idea? No problem. Think, think. Think and please give me the answers. So basically, agentic AI APIs are important because in modern generative AI, what actually happens is that no longer just text generates, like they are expected to solve problems, right? And they are expected to make decisions and complete tasks end to end, right? So what actually happens is here, right? Traditional APIs simply returns output for fixed inputs. Like there are few number of inputs and there are only generating a few X outputs, right? So that is the reason in today's applications we introduced an agentic AI API, which is providing the structured interface where the user can enable a higher level of intelligence. An idea? Can I get responses? Students, are you there? Can I get my screen is just full of fire emojis? Can I get fire emojis onto my screen? Very few are active in this session. Okay, chalta hai. No worries. I hope you got an idea, right? Why agentic AI API is more important in this today's generative AI? Yes or no? Okay, done. So here what actually happens is that at a higher level, it means that at an interface level, the agentic AI API allows application to communicate with an AI agent. So we need to communicate with one another, right? In the same way, an AI agent will communicate with an interface level that is nothing but an user, where it is treating an API AI is an a basic question answer model. Like one will be asking questions and one will be generating answers, right? In the same way, it is like a sender and receiver manner. So we treat it is like an intelligent worker that can think, plan, and take actions. So what it actually does? Just can I get in responses? Yeah, sure, Divyansh. 1 minute. I'll be repeating it again. So what here actually happens is that at an interface level, like nothing but we need to communicate. Like there are two persons, right? One person is like a sender and one person is a receiver. So sender sends a question and receiver will answer. So it's like a two-way communication. In the same way, AI agent will be asking questions to the user and user will be generating responses. So this is the reason we are having an agentic AI API in an interface level. So, sorry, interface layer. So here actually what happens is like we will be treating an intelligent worker to think, plan, and take actions. So that is the reason the API is acting as a bridge between our software and that intelligent system. What's the point? Okay. Just can you answer me a few questions? I'll be posting it in the Q&A. Okay. My question is, why do we need APIs for AI agent? Answer this question, students. Why do we need APIs for AI agents? Think of your own way and just give me all the responses so that we'll be having multiple responses and can be resolved all your doubts, right? Students, are you there? To access other app functions also like Gmaps, YouTube API, Gmail. Okay. So that agent communicate with other agents synchronously to process the user query in an effective way. Good, Divyansh. APIs are essential for AI agents to connect with, read from, and act upon external data sources, software, and tools, transforming them from isolated reasoning models into functional, action oriented systems. Good, Aritra. Very good. Any responses? Only 3 to 4 people are there in the session. It seems to be there are 135 people, but only few are responding. Students, please respond to the question that I have mentioned. Why do we need APIs for AI agents? Am I audible? Okay, let's understand the diagram that is present here. Like, what is an agentic AI API? So before explaining about the diagram, I have a simple question. Just answer to this question, students. Okay. So if a mobile app wants help from AI, where does it send the request? Just answer this question. Okay, without API, it will be difficult to give command to them for non-technical user. Yeah, yes, we to interact with the app, connect and interact. Yeah, good students. Just answer the question that I have mentioned in the Q&A. Like, if a mobile app wants help from AI, where does it send the request? To LLM. Okay. Simple answer. Just now we have understood about the concept just before the question I have mentioned. To the API which will connect the app with the AI. Yes, that's correct. Yes, very good. So the answer is the API. So simply it is a gateway between your application. That is like web application. It's like a web application or a mobile application or backend service. Anything, the service maybe can be anything, right? So it is the bridge between the application and the AI agent. It receives the user input such as prompt, file, or task that it can be anything that the user want actually, right? Yes, right? So that is the reason we are taking the help of API to send the request and to get the responses from the agent. Yes, right? Yeah, yes. 1 minute. Okay. Coming to, so this is the entry point, right? So we can see. So this is the entry point where we are sending the applications to the API, like connecting the application to the API key. Yes, right? You can see it in the diagram, right? Application is sending to the API key. Is it clear about the first step? Get responses. Thank you. Okay. And coming to the second step is nothing but a reason. Like it's a brain of an agent, right? So human has a brain. At the same time, an agent also needs brain, right? To work the function, to complete the functionality properly. Basically here what actually the agent does is, right, it directly not answers the questions that the user is asking. Before answering the question it will be thinking, right? It goes to thinking mode. It will plan, it will analyze, and it will generate the answers. So the reason here is that at first it understands the goal, then after it breaks the task into simple steps. Rather than directly giving correct answers and directly responding to the actions that the user needs, it first thinks, analyzes, and decides what tools are needed and what the things, like what is the output that we need to give. So this is about that second step where it is called as a brain of the agent. Yes, right? So it is taking an action, reason. Reason he is nothing but the brain of an agent. So here the agent is thinking. Your agent is thinking, analyzing, and generating and responding to the user's queries and generating outputs. Yes, right? Clear with the second step? Are you there? Okay. So third step. What's the third step? He's here. Act. What do you mean by act? So before knowing about the third step, I have a simple question. How does the agent actually complete the task? Just answer this simple question. How does the agent actually complete the task? Performing. Yes. The one or two responses I can able to see by connecting. Okay, no problem. Yes, correct. Partial correct. Perceive, think, action, output. Yeah, that's great, Divyansh. By completing small goal-oriented tasks. Good, good way. Okay, let me one more. Yeah, just like we need to pre-train it, right? That is the reason. By working as a delivery agent, maybe. Okay, not bad. Yes. So basically, the question is how does the agent actually complete the task? The name itself tells what actually the agent is doing. It act. It is nothing but performing. It performs actions. What kind of actions? At first, it will be calling the databases and it will be using the all the external API keys that are present and it fetches the data. It's nothing but it is checking the data where the exact data is present and how to execute the functions based on the user requirement. All these things. So this is nothing but we call it as an act stage. We'll take an example of a document parser. We all know about this, right? At first, what it actually does, it will be generating summary, and at last will be giving the user output based on the user requirement. Yes, right? So here the agent is now doing the work, not just talking, he's doing the work that the user actually wants. Correct? Don't worry, Jia. We'll be looking at our team. Don't worry. Attend all the quizzes from now. No worries. Continuous loop. Yes, Samiksha, you are correct. So it is like a continuous loop. Like after completing of each step, we need to continuously monitor all the sequences and all the things, right? Agent completes a task by thinking is a first step, deciding, calling API key, checking result, repeating until the goal is done. Yes. Yes, Swapnil, that's correct. Yeah. Coming to fourth step. Fourth step only, right? So coming to fourth step, it is nothing but detect the error. So what if something fails? Is my question. What if something fails? Like verifying on output, all these things. What if something fails? So what I'm saying is that in the fourth step, we are having an name called detect error. What I actually say is that what if something fails is nothing but what if an API agent is generating the wrong output or generating an errors. What it actually happens? Feedback, rethink, action. Yes, Divyansh, you are very cool and very active in the today's session. You are correct. So good. So here the system what actually does is right. It checks for the failures. So every person has a failure and we'll be learning from the failure steps, right? In the same way, agent will also check for the failures and detects the missing data and identify where the tool is getting errors, and it will be correcting the failure, like it will be correcting the mistakes that it is generated. Yes, right? Aritra, you are also so active. You guys are active, guys. No problem. All are active only. Even I am also active because of all your responses. Got boosted me my energy. Yes. So here it is detecting the error. Basically, it is checking and what is wrong and what is right. And here the agent is rechecking. So the final step is, sorry, the fifth step is correct. So what it actually means? Should we stop if there is an error? My question. Should we stop if the error occurs? Guys, you heard my question? You got my question? Okay, I'll be repeating the question. So, should we stop if there is an error? Okay, if you are saying yes, if you are saying no, what it actually represents? Answer is no. Why is it is said to be no? Because agent is trying to self-correct. In the same way, the human does mistake and they will be realizing by thinking and they will be correcting by themselves, right? So in the same way, agent is also trying to correct by the by himself or itself. So they may be retry the action and use another tool. Like we will be going with in a single path. Sometime it will be goes mistake, right? We'll be choosing the other path. In the same way, agent is also retrying the action using the other tool, and it replans the steps and ask for the clarification. So this is what makes it agentic and intelligent. It's similar like how human fix mistakes instead of quitting. So agent will not quit. Agent will retry the action, learn from the mistakes, learn from the errors, and use the another tool and replans, as well as it ask for the clarification again. Is that clear? Yes, we should resolve it. Coming to the next step. Yeah. Monitoring and logs. Logs are nothing but control center. Like we developers know what actually happens inside, right? So what here actually happens is that in this monitoring step, so we'll be checking the logs and sometimes we'll be checking the alert messages also, like monitoring the dashboards. In the same way, how can I say? We are looking for the person we are waiting for, like they will be replying to the message, so that we'll be monitoring, right? We'll be every time monitor whether he or she is message to us, given reply, all these things. In the same way, the agent will also monitor through logs, alerts, as well as agent will monitor the dashboards. So what it actually does, this helps in debugging issues, and it is improving the performance of the agent and helps in to maintain reliability. Yes, right? Students, are you there? Okay. So the final step, loop until success. Loop until success. It's nothing but retry. What do you understand by the term loop until success? It's nothing but at first it will be checking the reasons, acting upon the reasons, and checking the errors or checking the correct paths it is having and correcting itself from the errors and again retry. So it's a looping process. So if we got in an exam out of 100, if we get on 30 marks, will we stop? No, right? Yes or no? In the same way, the agent will also retry until it gets success. So if until it gets the API task is completed, the agent will return API as a structured response to the applications. What here actually happens is that an agentic AI API is not a single step and a question answer system. It's a cycle of thinking, acting, checking, and improving, just like humans of problems. Just conclude me with the simple steps. What is an agentic AI API means? I hope it is clear, right? Students, are you there? Okay. What agentic AI API is nothing but it's a cycle of first step is thinking, second one is acting, third step is checking and improving. So with with the help of 4 steps, AI agentic API will solve human problems. Thank you, Krishna Priya. Thank you, Aritra. Thank you, everyone. Okay. I hope this slide is clear, right? Shall we move on to the other slide? Yes, yes. The slide is clear, right? New slide is why APIs are essential for agentic AI. You can see this slide, right? Dijangto, you are so active. I just took your name. You guys are so active and you guys are so patient. Very good. Okay, let's continue with the session.
Yeah, okay guys, I hope everyone understood what is API, right? So let's move to the next slide. So why APIs are essential for agentic AI, okay? So now let's understand why APIs are important in agentic AI. So APIs are essential because they bring discipline to intelligence. Okay, so without APIs, every interaction would be messy and insecure. So APIs separates responsibilities. So the front end focuses on how things look and feel, right? So I think everyone know what is front end, right? So whatever the application we can see with our naked eyes, that is called front end, right? So the back end focuses on how things work. So front end will focus on how things look and feel, and the backend focuses on how things work. So the AI agent focuses on thinking and decision making, right? So this separation allows system to scale. So it allows teams to work independently. So it allows updates without breaking everything. So APIs also make reuse possible. So one AI agent can power multiple products through APIs. So this is how companies save time and resources. So APIs also play a major role in cloud deployment. So most AI systems today live in the cloud, and APIs are the language of the cloud. So they allow services to communicate regardless of where they are hosted. So when we say APIs are essential, we are saying They are the foundation that make agentic AI practical, scalable, and safe. Okay. Okay. Shall we move to the next slide? So what are the core components of an agentic AI backend? So we have discussed about backend, right? So whatever the things works behind the application is known as a backend. Okay. So inside an agentic AI backend, so intelligence is not a single block. So it is a system of components working together. So there is a part that receives requests from users, and there is a part that understands intent, the content we are searching for. So there is a reasoning logic that decides what steps to take. Okay. So there are tools that allows the agents to interact with internal systems or external systems. Okay. So there is a memory that allows continuity. So it will keep context in the point. Okay. So all of this happens behind the scenes. So the user never sees it, but they experience it effects. So when the system works well, it feels natural. When it doesn't, no, so it feels broken. So understanding these components helps you understand why building agentic AI is as much about engineering as it is about intelligence. So every component has a role. So every interaction follows through this structure. So this is what allows an agent to behave consistently instead of randomly. So this backend architecture is the backbone of real world AI systems. I hope everyone understood what is backend, right? So what are the core components we are having in backend? So API layer, so agent logic layer, reasoning and planning models, tool integration, memory and state management. Okay. So may I know how many components are there in agentic AI backend in the Q&A? I hope my query is clear, right? So what are the main components we are having in agentic AI backend? So may I know how many components are there in Agentic AI backend? Okay, shall we move to the next slide? Okay, let's move with the next slide. Okay. So these are the components we are having in the back end of Agentic AI. Okay, just remember the terms here. So API layer and agentic logic layer and reasoning and planning module. Okay, so tool integration, memory and state management. These are the backend components we are having in Agentic AI. Okay, so let's know about typical Agentic AI backend flow. Okay, so now let's actually imagine what happens when someone interacts with an agentic AI system. Okay, so because from the outside it feels very simple. You typed something and press enter, and you get a response. That's it, right? When you use ChatGPT or any other tools, right? So but inside the system a lot is happening, right? So the moment a user sends a request from the UI, like if you are using a ChatGPT application, so you have asked something, okay, so we can call it as a prompt. You have given a prompt, so that prompt is reaches the backend through an API. Okay, so the backend doesn't immediately respond. First it tries to understand what the user really wants. So what is your query? Okay, so now just the words, but the intent, is this a question, a task, or a follow up? Okay, so or a continuation of something earlier. So once the agent understands that, it begins reasoning. So this is where the agent decides what needs to be done. So maybe it needs to break the task into steps, or maybe it needs to fetch information. So maybe it needs to use a tool. So after reasoning comes planning. The agent decides the order of actions, then executes its action. Okay, so the agent might call a database or search something or calculate something or trigger another services. Okay, or it calls another tool. So only after all this does the agent prepare a response. So that response is that then sent back to the user. Okay, so from the user's perspective, this feels instant, but the internally it's a structured process. So this flow is important because it shows that agentic AI systems are not guessing. Okay, so they are following a logic pipeline. We can say logic of flow, working flow. Okay, so understanding this flow helps you appreciate why performance, reliability, and design matter so much in real AI systems. Okay, so how this works? Agentic AI backend. So first it receives users request and it pass the wait a minute, sorry. Yeah. So then the input is processed, right? Then agent it will decides, it will response, right? Then agent plans and decisions actions, like it will, so whatever the information gathered by the agent, that will be arranged in a particular order, then execute actions or tools. So if agent wants to integrate with the like backend or tools like another application to open, so it will do the such things and it will respond to the client. So after this all actions it will respond to the client. Client in the sense the who are using the application. Okay. I hope everyone understood what is the flow of backend in agentic AI, right? Just how it works when you ask a question. So we will respond, right? We will first analyze the question and process so in the brain, and we will collect some information and we will arrange the information in a particular order. Then we will say answer, right? So similar to that, the agents also thinks in the same way. Okay. Okay. So now let's move to the next slide. So when we talk about designing APIs for AI agents, we are really talking about designing communications. Okay. So RESTful APIs are commonly used because they are simple, predictable, and widely supported. So, but simplicity doesn't mean carelessness. So when an AI agent receives input, it needs to that input to be clear and structured. So ambiguity creates confusion. Do you know about ambiguity? So confusion, we can say. So not having any clarity. So that's called ambiguity. Okay. So not intelligence. So that's why APIs often accept structured data formats like JSON. So this ensures the AI knows exactly what it is being asked to do. So once on the response side, the structure matters just as much. The application receives the response needs to know what part of the response is text. So that part is a decision. So what part is an action? So and what part is metadata? So error handling becomes especially important with AI systems. Sometimes reasoning takes longer time and sometimes tools fails. So sometimes inputs are unclear. So a well-designed API anticipates this and responds gracefully instead of breaking. So designing RESTful APIs for AI agents is about creating trust between components. The front end trusts the back end to respond correctly. So the back end trusts the agent to behave with, within constraints. So this trust is built through clear constructs between defined by APIs. So when APIs are designed well, the entire system flows, feels stable, and even works better. So even when the intelligence underneath is complicated. Okay. So REST APIs ensures clear communication between systems by using structured input, predictable responses, and graceful error handling. Okay. So let's move to the next slide. Guys, if you are having any doubts, please mention in the Q&A, okay? Guys, please have a break till 7:20. Okay. Meanwhile, if you are having any queries, please mention in the Q&A. So let's have a break. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Take 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, guys, shall we continue the session? Guys, one of the important thing I'm sharing right now. So this is about your self-learning courses. So please register with the mail you have registered for the course. Okay. So complete the self-learning courses as soon as possible. Okay. Please do register with the mail you have used for the course. Okay. Don't use other mails. Okay. I hope everyone understood, right? So which mail you have to use? Only registered mail you have to use for the same self-learning courses. Okay. I hope everyone understood, right? Shall we continue with the session? If you are having any doubts, please mention in the Q&A. Okay. Okay. Now let's discuss about API responsibilities. Okay. So now let's make even more practical by talking about what different APIs in an agentic AI systems are actually responsible for. Okay. So in real applications, we don't actually have just one single API doing everything. Okay. So instead responsibilities are divided so the system stays clean and easy to manage. So this also helps when the system grows or when many users start using it at the same time. So for example, one API might be responsible only for handling conversation. So whenever a user sends a message, this API receives it and passes it to the agent for reasoning. So another API might be used to trigger specific tasks like asking the agent to perform an action or complete a workflow. Okay. And there can also be APIs that allows the application to check the agent's current status. So such as whether it is still working or on a task or has completed it. So some APIs are used to retrieve history. So which means fetching past conversation or actions so that agent can stay consistent. So separating responsibilities like this make the system easier to understand, test and scale. So it also reduces the chance of errors and keep agentic AI systems organized and reliable in real world environment. Okay. So what are the different APIs are there in agentic AI? So one is chat. So user conversation input. So it will take the user inputs and pass to the agent and task. So trigger agent task execution. Like if agent wants to call some services or tools, it will trigger. Okay. So again, we are having status. Status means the agent in which state, whether it is working or it is completed or it's failed. Okay. So history means retrieving the past context. That means remembering the previous data and continuing it. Okay. For present. I hope everyone understood what is this different API responsibilities and different types, right? May I know how many API responsibilities are there in Agentic AI? Please try to answer in the Q&A. How many types? I'm just asking how many types, okay? Please try to respond in the Q&A. Guys, I need response from everyone. Please try to answer in the Q&A. This is a very simple question, right? I'm just asking about types, not what are there, right? Guys, are you there? Can I get a response from your side? Guys, please be active in the session, okay? If you are finding any difficulties, please let me know in the Q&A. If you're not finding any difficulty, please try to answer to my queries and respond whenever I ask some questions, okay? Deepansh Agarwal, thank you for your response. May I know others answers also? If it is wrong also, fine. Okay, we can correct it. Please try to answer, okay? Sorry. Shall we move with the next content? Okay, now let's move our focus to how users actually experience agentic AI systems. Because no matter how smart an AI is internally, so it only becomes valuable when people can interact with it easily, right? So this is where web application integration comes in. So a web application is the face of AI system. It is what user sees, clicks, and talks to it. So if the integration between the web app and AI backend is weak, the whole experience feels slow, confusion, and broken. Okay. So think about using any website that feels smooth and responsive. You type something and you get a clear response quickly. So beyond that smooth experience is a well integrated backend is there. So in agentic AI systems, the web application sends user input to the AI agent through APIs and wait for the response, right? So the backend responses the request and sends the result back. So which is the web app then displays it a friendly way. So good integration ensures that users can interact with AI agents naturally. So without needing to understand what happens behind the scenes. Okay. So when web applications and agent backend work well together, the AI feels helpful, trustworthy, and easy to use in real world situations. Okay. I hope everyone understood what is web application integration, right? So whatever the interface we are seeing, we can call it as a web application, right? So like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, these are web applications. So if the backend and front end is integrated well, then we feel better when while we using that applications. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next topic. So now let's talk about the role of front end. So because this is the part of the system that users interact with directly, right? So even if the AI agent is very intelligent, users judge the system based on how the front end feels. So if the interface is confusing, slow and unclear, users will feel the AI is not working properly, right? So even if the backend is doing everything right and great, okay? So the front end is responsible for capturing user input, whether that is a message or a click or a video, audio, etc. Okay, so it also displays the agent's responses in a clear and friendly way as output. Okay, so in agentic AI systems, the front end often shows more than just your answers. So it may show progress, updates, loading status, and status messages so users know what the agent is doing internally. So this is especially important when tasks take time. So think about tracking an online order. So you don't just want the final results, right? So you want updates along the way. So the front end plays a similar role for AI agents too. So a well-designed front end builds trust by keeping users informed and engaged. So it turns complex AI behavior into a smooth, understandable experience that feels natural and helpful. Okay. I hope everyone understand, right? What is front end role in agentic AI? So if front end is very good, so users feels that very comfortable and try interacts more with the agents. So if the front end is not structured well, so users feels confused and they don't like to interact. Okay. Okay, shall we move to the next slide? So now let's understand how the front end and the agent backend actually talk to each other. So this is very important, how the front end and backend talk to each other in the agentic AI. Okay. So because this connection is what makes the whole system work smoothly. The front end never talks directly to the AI logic. Instead, it sends requests to the backend through APIs. So this separation is very important because it keeps the system secure, organized, and easy to scale. So when a user types a message or clicks a button in the interface, the front end sends the information as a request to the backend of agent. So the backend then process this input using the agent's reasoning, planning, and decision-making logics. So once the agent completes its work, the backend sends a response back to the front end, so which then display to the users in a friendly way. So think of this like ordering food at a restaurant. You don't go into the kitchen yourself, right? So you place the order through a waiter. Okay, so here the API key works as a waiter, and the kitchen sends the food back. So API acts like that waiter. So this design allows multiple users in interfaces to use the same AI backend and ensures the system remains flexible and secured and reliable as it grows. I hope everyone understood how this backend and frontend are connected. Using APIs, the back interface, frontend and backend is connected. So when users ask any question to the application like ChatGPT, then this front end will send the request to the backend, and the backend process the data, and then it returns the answers. So in between front end and back end, we are having a API key, so which carries request from the user and response from the back end to the user. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. So now we have discussed about request and response, right? So let's talk about it in depth. So now let's walk through the full request response flow. So we can clearly picture what happens from the moment a user interacts with the system to the moment they see a response from the application. Okay. So imagine a student typing a question into a web application. So that input does not magically become an answer. So first the front end captures the input and sends it to the backend through an API. So we can call it as a request. So this request includes structured data, so the backend knows exactly what the user is asking. So once the backend receives the request, it passes it to the AI agent. The agent then reasons about the input and plans what need to be done, and then decides whether it needs to call tools or fetch the data from the database or perform an action. So after the agent completes its work, the backend collects the results and send it to the as a response to the front end. Okay, so the front end then displays that response to the user in a clear and friendly way. So this entire loop happens quickly, but it is very structured. So understanding this flow helps you see that agentic AI systems are not random. Every step has a rule, and if, when this flow is designed well, users experience the AI as smooth, intelligent, and reliable. I hope everyone understood this workflow, right? How this request and response works together, right? Okay, so it is very simple, right? So giving a prompt to the front end and it will take that prompt to the backend, and backend it processes the prompt and then it again sends to the front end, and the front end will display the output. So here whatever the input we are given, it will be first sent to the backend. This is called so request, sending the request to the backend using API. Then it will the backend, in the backend we are having agent. So the agent will process the prompt, whatever the prompt we have sent. Then it will generate a response for that prompt. Then the backend will respond to the front end with that response. So then the front end will display the output. Okay. So now let's talk about something that quietly keeps agentic AI systems running smoothly, which is state management. Okay. So state simply means remembering what is currently happening in the system. So when an agent starts a task, it should not forget everything after taking one step. So it needs to remember where it is in the process, what has already been done, and what still needs to happen next. So think about filling out a long online form. So if the page refreshes and all your information disappears, so it feels frustrating, right? So when you have filled the data and it is refreshed, so all data will be gone. So then we feel frustrated, right? So again, we need to feel that. So that happens because state was not handled properly. So in agentic AI systems, state helps the agent continue from the exact point where it felt off. So this is especially important for long-running tasks that take time, such as processing requests and monitoring systems or handling multiple step workflows. So without proper state management, an agent may repeat actions, lose progress, or behave unpredictably. Okay. So without good state handling, the system feels unstable and reliable. The agent knows what it is doing at every moment, and users experience smoother interactions without confusion or error. Okay. So I hope everyone understood what is managing state, right? So the agent will remember what it is doing and what need to be done, right? So this makes process easy and without any repetition or doing the same things again and again. Okay. Yeah, we will share the attendance form soon. Okay. Don't worry about it. So let's continue with the next topic. So types of state in agentic AI. I hope everyone understood what is management state, right? So now let's go a little deeper and understand the different kinds of states that exist inside the agentic AI systems. Okay. So because not all state is the same. So when people hear state, they often think it is just one thing, but in reality, there are multiple layers of state working together. So each one plays a different role in keeping the system organized and predictable. So one type of state is session state. So one type of state is a session state. So this is related to a single user interaction or a session. So it helps the system remember what a user is currently doing, such as an ongoing conversation or an unfinished task. So another type is agent state. So which belongs to the AI agent itself. So this includes what goal the agent is working on, which step it is currently executing, and what decisions have already been made. There is also application level state, so which tracks information shared across users or tasks. So think of this like a classroom. So each student has their own notebook. The teacher has lesson progress, and the school has scheduled and records. So all of these are different state. Managing them properly helps the agentic AI system stay consistent and avoid confusions and handle multiple users smoothly at the same time. So what are the different types of states in agentic AI? So session state, agent state, and application state. So session state is related to current interactions. So user interactions, okay? So and agentic state includes so what the agent is currently doing and what need to be done, what are things that agent has done, okay? So application state then means so UI level data. So which track the information shared across users and tasks, okay? Okay, let's move to the next slide. Guys, attendance will be shared soon. Okay, don't worry about that. Guys, please register for the self-learning courses and complete as soon as possible. Okay, so and be careful while registering for that self-learning course. Please register with the same mail you have registered for the course. Okay. Guys, I have shared the attendance form. Please fill it before 8. Okay. Okay. Now let's continue with the topic. So now we will talk about context. So because this is what helps the agentic AI system feel intelligent instead of forgetful. Okay. So context is all about remembering meaningful information from earlier interactions. So the agent does not treat every message like it's the first one. Okay. Guys, please fill the attendance form. Okay. I will wait for 2 minutes. Please, before that, fill the form. Okay. Okay. So context means remembering all the things. Okay. Just remember this one. So without context, the agent may ask the same question again or give answers that don't match the situation, which quickly becomes frustrating for users. Okay. So think about having conversation with friend who forgets what you said 5 minutes ago. So we would keep repeating yourself and the conversation would be feel broken. So the same thing happens if AI is context is not handled properly. So context allows the agent to remember details like user preferences or previous questions or earlier decisions made during the task. So in agentic AI system, context is especially important for long or multiple interactions. So it helps the agent stay focused on the goal and respond in a way that makes sense. So good context handling makes AI interactions feel smooth and natural and human-like instead of robotic or repetitive. Okay. Guys, if you are having any queries, please mention in the Q&A. If not, please mention clear so that we can move with the next slide. Okay. Guys, I have shared the link, actually attendance link. Once I am sharing that, okay, just fill that form before 8. Okay. Okay, now let's understand the difference between state and context. So because many students mix these two things, okay, so they are related, but they are not the same. So state is about what is happening right now in the system, okay. So while context is about what has happened before and is still important. So both are needed for agentic AI to work properly. So think about cooking a meal. So the state is what step you are currently on, like chopping vegetables or boiling water. So context is remembering the recipe. So the ingredients, we can say, right? The ingredients we already used and how much time has passed. So if you lost state, you forget what to do next. If you lost context, you forget why you are doing it. Right? So in the agentic AI systems, state helps the agent continue task without restarting. And the context helps the agent respond intelligently across interactions. So engaging both correctly ensures that agent behaves consistently and avoid confusions and provide a smooth experience even in a long running or complex tasks. Okay. I hope everyone understood the difference between state and context, right? So state means what the agent is doing right now, and context means what the agent remembers from before. So what are the actions have been taken before? Okay. So let's move to the next slide. If you are having any doubts, please mention in the Q&A. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about context handling in web-based agents. Okay. Yeah, guys, we will wind up soon. Okay, don't worry about it. So let's understand what is context handling in web-based agents. Okay, so handling context in web-based agents is one of the most delicate part of system. So okay, so context usually include conversation history, user performance, and relevant past actions. The challenges is deciding how much context is sent to the agent at any given point. So sending everything can slow the system down and increase cost. That means the processing time. So sending too little can make the agent feel disconnected. So good context handling involves selecting the what is relevant for the current interaction. It also involves storing context in a way that can be retrieved efficiently in a web-based systems. And context often need to be persist across sessions, devices, and time. So a user might start a conversation on a laptop and continue it on a phone. So the agent needs to maintain continuity. This requires careful coordinating between front and back end storage system. Okay, so when context handling is done well, the user feels understood, and when the context is not automatic, it must be designed thoughtfully. So the quality of context handling often determines whether users trust an AI system or abandon it. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. Now let's talk about the real challenges that come with building agentic AI systems. So because this very theory meets reality. So designing these systems is powerful, but it is not easy. So one of the biggest challenge is complexity. So many components like APIs, reasoning, planning, state, context, and backend systems must work together. If one part fails, it can affect the entire system, right? So building agentic AI systems is exciting, but it comes with the real challenges. Okay, so one of the biggest challenge is latency. So AI reasoning can take time, and users expect fast responses. So managing multiple users at the same time is another challenge. So systems must handle con- concurrency without mixing up state or context. So state synchronization can be complex, so especially in distribution systems where different components run in different places. So security and access control are also critical. So AI systems often deal with sensitive data, and APIs must ensure that only authorized users can access certain features. So these challenges are not theoretical, they appear in very real world AI systems. So addressing them requires careful design and testing and monitoring. So this slide is important because it reminds us that AI development is not just about innovation. So it's about responsibility. So building reliable systems means anticipating problems and designing solutions before users encounter them. Okay. So I hope this is the last slide we are going to discuss. Okay. So don't worry about it. I will give a quiz soon. Okay. So let's bring everything together and close the session clearly. Okay. So what we should take away from this entire discussion is that agentic AI is not just about smart response. Okay. So it is about building complex systems that can understand goals, reason about situations, plan steps, and take actions and continue working until results are achieved. So every part we discussed plays an important role in making that happen. So APIs connects agents to applications, backends gives agents the ability to act, and state and context helps the agents behave consistently over the time. So at the same time, careful design is needed to manage complexity ensures reliability and maintain security. So this is why enterprise platforms are so important in real world development. So the key message I want you to remember in this session is powerful AI needs responsible and thoughtful system design. So when agentic AI systems are built correctly, they become reliable partners that helps humans work smarter, faster, and more effectively in the real world scenarios. Okay. Okay, guys, I will share the quiz details. So please be on answer every question. Okay. Okay, guys, I have shared the quiz link. Please join in the quiz as soon as possible. Okay. Okay, guys, I have shared the quiz details. Please join in the quiz as soon as possible. Okay, and then we're going to start the quiz. Okay. So those who have not filled the attendance form, please fill the attendance form. Okay. So I'm sharing once again. Guys, I can see 120 plus students. Please join the quiz as soon as possible. Then we're going to start the quiz. Okay. So if you are taking time to join, so we'll also take the time to start, right? So please understand the situation and join as soon as possible. Okay. Guys, the quiz will start exactly 8:15, okay? And we will end at 8:20. Okay, please join as soon as possible, okay? Okay, guys, I'm starting the quiz. Please answer each and every question, okay? All the best. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for attending the quiz. I can see 65 students are there. So thank you everyone for joining and participating in the quiz. Can I end this quiz? Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. I can see that most of the students are opted for correct answers only. So I can see overall accuracy as 89. Okay. So thank you for attending. We will meet in next class. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you guys. Thank you for having the session. Guys, I have already shared the attendance link, right? So once again, I'm sharing the attendance link. So we are not filled it. Please try to fill the attendance form, okay? I have already said, right? So it will be appeared till 8, right? So I have already shared at 7:50. So sorry, I can't do right now anything. So please make sure that you are filling the attendance form before 8, okay? So if it is open, you can fill that form, okay? So don't worry about that. Thank you for joining. Shall we end the session? Thank you all. Thank you for joining.